Hi there. Today I'm going to talk a little bit about Chart 2-8 in Understanding and Using English Grammar, 5th edition by Betty Azar. So Chart 2-8 is about past perfect. So I'd like to talk to you about three things today. First thing is, how do I make past perfect? The second thing is, what does past perfect mean? And the third thing is, when do I use past perfect? Okay, so let's start off by talking about the first question. How do I make past perfect? So past perfect, not too hard. What I do is I just write, or I say had plus past participle. So, for example, I could say John had done his homework when I wrote HW short for homework. When he came to class. And you'll notice I have had and past participle. When you see had and past participle together, that's past perfect. Good news, past perfect is always the same. It's always had and past participle. So it doesn't, I had done my homework, you had done your homework, they had done their homework, we had done our homework, she had done her homework. It'll always be had in past participle. So that's pretty easy. So I could say, we had eaten dinner when Mary called. Okay, and again I have had and past participle. And we'll do one more example. I might say, John was tired. Or let's use a different name from John. Let's say Alice was tired. She had worked all day. Okay? And again, I have had and past participle. So whenever I want to make past perfect, it's always had and past participle. Okay. Now, let's move on to the next question. What does past perfect mean? So, let me erase this. Okay, so let's just write this here. What does past perfect mean? Okay, now, the way that I usually explain this to my students is, well, let me just show you. Let's see here. When he went to bed, Alvin had finished all his homework. Now, take a look here. When he went to bed, Alvin had finished all his homework. Look at this sentence and just take a second, find the verb that is in past perfect. You can pause if you need a second. Okay, so the verb that's in past perfect, remember past perfect is had plus past participle. So here's my past perfect verb, had and past participle. Now, what does that mean in this sentence? Okay, what I tell my students is past perfect. Let me erase this to give myself some more room. You can think of past perfect as like a sign that is on the verb. And the sign says, I happened first. Okay? So whenever you see a verb in past perfect, it means I happened first. So let me ask you a question. When he went to bed, Alvin had finished his homework. Which one happened first? Remember, past perfect is like a sign on the verb that says I happened first. So past perfect is a sign on the verb that says I happened first. Which one happened first? Right! It's this one. Whenever you see a past perfect verb, it's like there's a sign on it and it says I happened first. So Alvin, first he finished his homework and he went to bed later. Okay? So if I draw a picture, it can look like this. Let me use a different color. So let's see here. Here's when he went to bed. Okay? And then here is when he finished his homework. Finish happened first. Okay? So, let me just write that on the board. Past perfect equals, or let's say past perfect is like a sign on the verb. That says, I happened first. Okay, so when he went to bed, Alvin had finished all his homework. When I see had finished, past perfect, then I know, this one happened first. So let's look at another example, okay? Let's see here. Let's see here. So Trixie is a woman's name, by the way, had eaten dinner. Trixie had eaten dinner when she got home. Trixie had eaten dinner when she got home. So, first question I have for you is, what verb, or please find the past perfect here. Shouldn't take you long. Right. Past perfect is here, had and past participle. So, two things happened here. Trixie ate dinner and she got home. So let's draw a picture here again. Trixie had eaten dinner when she got home. Which one happened first? Did she eat dinner first or did she get home first? Take a moment and think. Pause if you need to. Which one happened first? Trixie had eaten dinner when she got home. Okay, let's talk about that. I remember, past perfect means, when I see past perfect, had and past participle, it means I happened first. So again, I'm going to make the little sign on this just to make this even more clear. Whenever I see had and past participle, whenever I see past perfect, it's like a sign on the verb that says I happened first. So here I know Trixie ate dinner before she got home. So if I draw the picture, it looks like this. Here's she gets home, and here is eat dinner. So That means, so maybe she stopped at McDonald's and got dinner at McDonald's before she went home, or maybe maybe she ate dinner at a friend's house before she went home, but she ate dinner before she went home. Again, the thing that I want you to remember here is whenever I see had and past participle, oop, I erased it, but whenever I see had and past participle, it means I happened first. Okay? Now, let me give you another point to think about. Let me give you another sentence to think about. Let's see here. I might say, at 5 o'clock, Mary, at 5 o'clock, Mary had written the last page of her report. At 5 o'clock, Mary had written the last page of her report. Here's my question. Which one happened first? Did she write first? Or did 5 o'clock happen first? At 5 o'clock, which one happened first? Excuse me, which one happened first? 5 o'clock or had written her report? Take a minute and think if you need to. Pause. Okay, so let's take a minute and think here. I see here, first, let's find past perfect. Past perfect is had and past participle. So I say, here's past perfect. And then I say, I remember something about past perfect. Oh yes, past perfect is like a sign on the verb that says, I happened first. So here, I say, oh, at 5 she had written the last page. This happened first. So if I draw a picture, it'll look like this. Here is 5 o'clock, and here is write the last page. So she wrote the last page before 5 o'clock. She wrote the last page before 5 o'clock. So that is what past perfect means. It's like a sign on the verb that says I happened first. So the next question is, when do I use past perfect? Let me give you a general answer, then I'll erase this, and we'll talk about it a little bit more, okay? So, when do I use past perfect? Usually in English, we use past perfect when we want or we need to be really, really clear about which action happened first. Very often, I don't need to use past perfect, but when I want to be very, very clear, or when I need to be clear which one happened first, then I can use past perfect. So it's to show which one happened first if I want to be super clear, or maybe it's not already clear. I'll give you some examples of that because I know it's hard to think of that unless you can actually see some real sentences that use it. So let's erase this. Hi, hello. Okay, so when do I use past perfect? Okay, so I'll write an answer here. I use past perfect when I want to be, when I want or need to be very clear about which thing happened first. Okay, so let me give you an example of that. So I might say, let's see here. I could say, oh, I want to use it, yeah. Oh, I don't want, let's see, I might say, Jonah was tired after, Jonah was tired after she finished work. Now, oh, excuse me. Let's say Jonah was tired after she had, let me use a different verb. Jonah was tired after she had run 5 miles. Okay? Now here, if I use Jonah was tired after she had run 5 miles, that makes it very clear to an English speaker that this one happened first. Okay? Now, let me ask you a question to think about. So think about this question. Could I also say, Jonah was tired after she ran 5 miles? I'll put question marks around that to show it's a question. Jonah was tired after she ran 5 miles. Can I say that? Pause if you need a moment to think, or you want a moment to think. Okay, let me tell you the answer. The answer is yes, I can say that. I can say both. Jonah was tired after she had run 5 miles. Jonah was tired after she ran 5 miles. And that brings us to an important point, which is, if I use the words before or after, I don't need to use past perfect. I can if I want to. I can use past perfect to show, oh, I want to be really clear, this one happened first. But if I use the words before and after already show which one happened first. So, if I don't want to use past perfect, I can just use the words before and after. So, let me write that here. Let me write this right over here. If I use the words before and after, when I use the words before and after, I don't need to use past perfect. I can use past perfect if I want to, but I don't need to, because the words before and after already show which one happened first. Let me give you another example with before and after, and then I want to give you an example of a time that we need past perfect to be clear, okay? So, I might say, Ingrid had eaten breakfast before she went to work. So here, again, take a look, find the past perfect verb. Okay, you're right. It's right here, had eaten. Now, Ingrid had eaten breakfast before she went to work. So again, past perfect is just like a little sign here that says I happened first. And so I know, oh, she ate breakfast before she went to work. So now let me ask you another question. Can I say Ingrid, let me use a different color. Ingrid ate breakfast before she went to work? Yes, yes I can. Because if I use the word before or after, then I don't need to use past perfect. I can use past perfect, but I don't need to. So let me just draw that here. If I use the words before and after, I don't need to use past perfect. I can. It makes it even clearer. It makes it clearer which one happened first to an English speaker. But we really don't need them because the words before and after already show which one happened first. So let's talk about a time when I might need past perfect. If I say, let's see here. Trying to think of a good example here. Let me see. Bill blank clean the house when his wife got home. Okay, so here, Bill blank cleaned the house when his wife got home. Now, first, let's say, well actually let's do this. Let's say I want to show this situation. Here is wife got home. Wife home. And I want to show that clean happened first, okay? Bill cleaned before his wife got home. So, how can I do that? In this sentence, the way I can show that Bill cleaned the house when his wife got home is I can use past perfect. I could say, Bill had cleaned the house when his wife got home. And then an English speaker sees this and an English speaker knows, oh, past perfect happens first. It's like a sign that says, I happened first. Okay? So when an English speaker hears this, they know, oh, Bill cleaned the house before his wife got home. I don't use the word before here. I use the word when. But it's clear to an English speaker that this happened first because I use past perfect. Past perfect always means I happened first. So when an English speaker hears this, they know, aha, I know this one happened first. Now, let's take a look and see what happens if I don't use past perfect, okay? So, I think I need to erase some things here. I wish I had a bigger whiteboard, but I don't. Okay, so let me erase these. So you can remember when I use before and after, I don't need to use past perfect. Oh, let me draw my picture back here. here is wife got home, and Bill here in this sentence, clean happened first. I know clean happened first because it's past perfect. Now, let's say I write the same sentence, almost the same sentence. Bill blank cleaned the house when his wife got home. Okay, now, let's say I don't use past perfect here. I don't use past perfect. And I'm going to instead use simple past. So I say, John cleaned the house when his wife got home. Okay, so let's talk about what this sentence means. Let me ask you to think just for a moment. In this sentence, which one happens first? Let me see here. Does cleaned happen first, or did got home happen first? Bill cleaned the house when his wife got home. Which one happened first? Pause if you want a moment to think. Okay, let's talk about this. When I use the word when with two words that are the same tense, usually, almost always, the one that comes after when, the one that comes right after when, happened first. The two actions happen very, very close together, but this one happens just a little bit first. So, for example, I might say, when I spilled my tea, my pants got wet. So, when I spilled my tea, my pants got wet. Those happened very, very close together. But spill my tea, when I spilled my tea, happened a little bit first. So let me write that on the board. That's a lot to ask you just to hold in your mind. So if I say, let's write the sentence, and then we'll talk about it. When I spilled my tea, my pants got wet. My pants got wet. Okay, so here, if I spill my tea and my pants get wet, they happen very close together, almost the same time. But the one that happens with when, happens just a little bit first. So if I draw a picture of this, let me use blue here, it'll look like this. Spill, and then get wet. They happen very close together, almost the same time, but spill happens a little first. The one that happens with when happens a little bit first. Okay? So, if I say, Bill cleaned the house when his wife got home, I say, oh, here I have when, and they're the same tense. They're both simple past. So I say, oh, when I use when and two verbs, same tense, when and two verbs, the same tense, the one with when happens a little bit first. So here, if I say, Bill cleaned the house when his wife got home, his wife got home, here's get home, and then here is clean. It happened very soon after. So the point that I want to make is these two sentences mean something very, very different. Because I don't use before or after, I use when. If I want to show that if I want to say this happened first, then I need to use past perfect, okay? If I use simple past with when, it means they happened almost at the same time, and that his wife got home a little bit first. Ew. I hope that's clear. Let me give another example or two, okay? Now, let's see here. Okay. Now that I have some more room, let me make a comment up here. So, if I use when plus two verbs of the same tense, so here I have when and two verbs of the same tense. So if I use when and two verbs of the same tense, they happen at almost the same time. Or let's say they happen very close together. But the verb right after when almost always. I'll write usually because it's shorter. Oh, let me erase this. Usually happens a little bit first, a little bit first. Okay. So when I spilled my tea, my pants got wet. When I use when with the two verbs of the same tense, simple past, they happen very close together. Spill tea and pants get wet happens spill tea, pants get wet. But the one that happens with when happens just a little bit first. So, now let's take a look at a few more sentences. Let's see here. Let's see here. Let's see here. I might say, oops, let me use a different color. Let's do two sentences together. I called my wife when the earthquake happened. I had called my wife when the earthquake happened. Okay, so two sentences. I called my wife when the earthquake happened. I had called my wife when the earthquake happened. I'm going to ask you a question, but you don't have to answer it on your own. I'll talk you through this. But if you want to, you can try pausing and see if you can figure it out. I called my wife when the earthquake happened. I had called my wife when the earthquake happened. My question for you is, do these two sentences mean the same thing or different things? Let's look at that together. Now, I called my wife when the earthquake happened. Here I see, I'm using when. Let's use a different color there. Blue would be better. I'm using when, and I have, let's see, two verbs, called and happened. Let me ask you, Are they the same tense or different tenses? They're the same tense, right? Simple past and simple past. So I say, oh, when I use two verbs of the same tense, they happen very close together. But the verb that happens after when, usually, almost always, happens a little bit first. So here, I called my wife when the earthquake happened. In this sentence, take a moment and think. Which action happened first? Did I call my wife first? Or did the earthquake happen first? Remember, if I use two verbs of the same, if I use when with two verbs of the same tense, they happen very close together, but the verb right after when usually happens a bit first. Okay, so let's draw a picture of this. Well, think a minute. Which one happened first, called or happened? Which one happened first, call or earthquake? Now, I'm trying to find a place to draw. Okay. And I think I need a better color. Oh, let's do green. Green will work nicely. Okay. So I say, okay, I've got when with two verbs of the same tense. So I know they happen very close together. And the verb right after when usually happens first. So happened, earthquake happened was a little bit before I called my wife. So if I draw a picture, it would look like this. Earthquake happened first. Then call. So if I act this out, I say, oh, these happened very close together, but earthquake was a little first. So I go, so if I'm acting this out, the earthquake happens. And then I'd say, oh my gosh. And I pick up my phone and I say, hi, sweetheart, did you feel the earthquake? So the earthquake happened, they happened very close together. Hi, sweetheart, did you feel the earthquake? They happened very close together, but the one that happens with when happened. The one that comes with when comes a little bit first, okay? So, in this sentence, earthquake happened a little bit before I called my wife. Now, let's look at a sentence with past perfect, okay? I had called my wife when the earthquake happened. Okay. Now, let me see here. How's that? No, that's color's too close. Okay, let's maybe use black. I had called my wife when the earthquake happened. Now, let's think. Does this sentence mean the same thing as this sentence? In the first sentence, let's call this sentence A, and this is sentence B. In sentence A, the earthquake happened first, and then very soon after, I called my wife. Let's look at this. I had called my wife when the earthquake happened. I look at this sentence and I say, oh, I remember something about past perfect. It's not on the board now because it was erased, but past perfect is like a sign on the verb, and that sign says, I happened first. So I say, oh, which one happened first here? You're right, it's had called, because past perfect means I happened first, okay? So, so here, I called my wife, it was finished, and then the earthquake happened. So if I draw a picture, here is the earthquake, and here is call my wife. And so let me act this out. I had called my wife when the earthquake happened. In this sentence, I know this happened first, and then the earthquake happened. So, if I do sentence B goes like this. Hi, sweetheart, how are you? Oh, good. I will be home probably about 5:30. Would you like to go out to dinner? Or shall we eat at home? Oh, okay. Well, that sounds good. And you take care, and I love you, and I'll talk to you soon. Okay, bye-bye. I hang up, and then the earthquake happens. So notice here, when I use past perfect, it means this one happened first. Call happened before the earthquake. How is that? Okay, let's do one more example. And then I think that, I'm hoping that will be enough. So if you would like more examples of past perfect, again, you can download this book for free. You can download this book for free on the internet. You can, again, Google my name and verb tenses, and you'll find it right away. So let me just put that there. So if you Google my name, which is Kent, ooh, that's not very, this marker looks like it's getting old. Okay, so if you Google my name, which is Kent Uchiyama, and you Google verb tenses, or better yet, do English verb tenses, then you will find a link to download this book. And you can read more about past perfect and see more examples, and it might be helpful for you. Okay, so let me erase this now, and let's say when he got to school, when he arrived at school, let's see here, Ludwig did, or let's say Ludwig had done his homework. And let's write another, we'll call that one sentence A. Then we'll make a sentence B. When he got to school, Ludwig did his homework. Okay, so I'm going to ask you to take a look at these on your own and think about them. When he got to school, Ludwig had done his homework. Okay, I need to throw this one out. And when he got to school, excuse me just a moment. When he got to school, in A, Ludwig had done his homework. And in B, when he got to school, Ludwig did his homework. Here's the first question I have for you. Do these two sentences mean the same thing or different things? You can hit pause if you want. You can pause the video if you want a moment to think. Okay, let me tell you the answer. The answer is they mean different things in English, okay? So let's think about how were they different. When he got to school, Ludwig had done his homework. Let me ask you a question. In this sentence, which one happened first? Did he get to school first, or did he do his homework first? In this sentence, in sentence A, did he get to school first, or did he do his homework first? Take a minute and think. Okay, so let's talk about this. I remember past perfect. Yes, past perfect is like a sign on the verb. And that sign says, I happened first. So I know, oh, in sentence A, I've got past perfect. This happened first. So if I draw a picture of sentence A, it will look like this. Here I have get to school happened in the past. And then before get to school, he did his homework. Did his homework happened before he got to school. It was finished when he got to school. How is that? Okay, good. Now let's look at B. When he got to school, Ludwig did his homework. Now, in this sentence, which one happens first? Take a minute and think. You can pause the video if you want to. So, here I have when and two verbs, got and did, that are the same tense. And so I remember for this, when I use when plus two verbs of the same tense, they happen very close together. But the verb right after when usually happens a little bit first. So, in this sentence, if I draw a picture, here is get to school. He arrives at school. Get to school. And then very soon after he gets to school, very soon after he arrives, he does his homework. Do homework, I'll put here. So in this case, he drives to school. Well, let me just act these out, okay? Well, let me act out this one. So in this sentence B, Ludwig drives to school maybe, or he takes the bus. Let's say he drives. And he gets to school and he goes, sits down in class, and then he gets out his book in class and he starts to do his homework. Maybe he had to work late the night before. But in this sentence, he gets to school first, and then very soon after he gets to school, he does his homework. In this sentence, when he got to school, Ludwig had done his homework. That means this happened first. So if I act out sentence A, when he got to school, Ludwig had done his homework. At home, probably, he works, does his homework, good. Finishes his homework, right? Finishes his homework first. Then he gets in his car, drives to school, comes in and sits down. And so he did his homework before he went to school. Okay, I hope that's clear. I hope that helps.
I don't understand.
If
okay,
you,
I hope that's clear. I hope that helps. But I could search the web for it.
Excuse me just a minute here. Sorry. I don't know if you heard that, but Siri on my phone was trying to talk to me. I think she heard me say, I hope that helps. And anyway. So, again, if you have questions, you can look in this book, find it online, Google my name, Kent Uchiyama, English verb tenses, and you'll find it. You can put a free copy onto your computer and read all about past perfect. Okay. I will see you next time with another video about verb tenses.